when are you going to throw in the towel? But again, I'm not a quitter, right? So I kept going. And 8 months later, I took a job at the company of the consultant that had offered me a job years earlier. So that worked out for me. I'm going to tell you a little bit about my most valued mentor. The most important person in terms of mentorship that's had an impact on my life. So I got a consulting gig, and I landed at a very technical organization. And it was funny, when I landed, there were 17 other consultants from my organization there, and I was the only female, because it was a very technical company that I was working for. So I was assigned a project manager. I was working as a systems analyst at the time, and I was leading a development team. I was building out a system, a custom system. So as a project manager, this guy really got on my nerves, because I would go to him and I'd say, this is happening, I have a roadblock, you have to help me. And he would say, okay, Sheila, here's what you need to do. You have to pick up the phone and you have to call this person and tell them this, or send an email to this person, or wander over to this person's desk, and he would tell me what to do. And I'm like, aren't you supposed to be doing that? So it took me a while to figure out that he was actually trying to grow me. He was actually trying to help me expand my skills and become more proficient. And that was great. Once I figured that out, I was like, yeah, this is awesome. This guy, he's helping me, right? Our relationship transitioned into one of mentor and mentee when I'm a highly anxious person. So on this project, I would get anxious and I would get wound up. And so he had a sense for that somehow. Even though, on the surface, I was, calm and collected. Inside, I was a mess. And he would take me out for coffee and he would sit me down and he would really do the mentorship piece, in that mentorship is not about telling people what to do. It's about asking them a series of questions to guide them through, to help them find the solution on their own, right? So he did a lot of that with me. Take me out for coffee, sit me down, and ask me questions until I figured out what was really bothering me and I figured out a solution to my problem. So he really helped me in that. One of the rules of mentorship is that a mentor-mentee relationship, you're not friends. Well, I definitely broke that rule in this relationship because we became friends. And we would spend time, my family, at his family's cabin, and we played slow pitch together. We'd go out for dinners. We became friends, and we recently lost him. But I'll never forget him, and he's always going to be the voice in my head. And he's the voice in my head when I ask myself questions and trying to figure out how to solve my problems. So he's been very impactful to me, and really a life changer. So I've been mentored a lot. I've been talking about that. I have mentees, people that I've mentored. I have I'll tell you the story about the junior colleague. So I was at an organization, and another consultant landed, and I was asked to take her under my wing, so to speak, show her the lay of the land, and make sure that she was performing, review her stuff, so on and so forth. Now, she was great. She was fantastic. She had a ton of skills. She was just a wonderful, wonderful person, and I really enjoyed her company. Now, she came from, she was consulting, contracted to a company that was notorious for having really bad, rates. So they would take a lot of money from their consultants. And she was new to consulting, and I was concerned about her rate. So one day I sat her down, and I was breaking all the rules because, they tell you you're not allowed to talk about your rate because someone else might be getting a different rate than you. It's an absolute no-no. So we did this whole thing. I'm like, okay, we're not allowed to talk about this, but I'm just gonna write this number on a piece of paper, and you tell me, does this look like your number, right? So we had this conversation, and in the consulting world, if for those of you that don't know, it's 80-20. So, the consultant gets 80%, the company gets 20%. And what I found out, through this discussion was that they were taking 80% of her hourly billable rate and giving her 20. And she didn't know that because she was new to consulting. So she immediately quit, joined my organization, and we found a different gig for her. So I continued to mentor her until she's now in BC, unfortunately. So too far away, but we do stay in touch, and I really do appreciate the relationship. It really enriched me, it helped me grow, and it kind of helped me decide when it's time to break the rules. Sometimes it's just time to break the rules. My dad's best friend's son's daughter. Quite the same. So she's a lovely young lady, and I mentor her on a personal level, but she's looking to go into tech. So I hope one day to mentor her on a professional level. My husband's very technical, and he does a lot of stuff with blockchain. So he, about a year ago, was asked to become the chief marketing officer for a very cutting edge blockchain company that uses AI bots to make trading recommendations. Yeah. So while he's very technical and he has all the technical skills, he kind of struggled with some of the business side of it and some of the working with the other highly technical people, because they're all highly technical, and it's kind of like herding cats, right? Like it's a bit of a challenge. So I did spend some time mentoring him in that arena. I mentor my team at work. I take the time to guide them and walk them through and talk to them and ask them who they want to be, how do I help you get there. I don't just lead them, I mentor them as well. And I have a brand new mentee. So somebody reached out to me on LinkedIn, and I ended up hooking up with them on 10,000 Coffees, which is a mentorship site that anyone can sign up for. And he's from Russia, recently landed here in December. And I'm really excited to get to know him, because I don't know much about Russia and I don't know much about the culture, and I'm really excited to learn. So that's exciting for me. So this is what I've learned. Mentorship can create a safe haven in a hostile environment. Mentorship is why I stayed in IT for 20 years. And I think some of my stories really illustrate that fact. There are many times when I would have left had I not had a mentor to look after me. Mentorship is why I became a leader in IT. The people that have mentored me and grown my skills to allow me to become the person I am today. I firmly believe that mentorship increases retention in organizations, because again, I would have left a number of organizations without the mentorship piece. Mentorship can mean the difference between feeling like you fit in and are valued for your organization, and mentorship drives diversity and inclusion. These are my conclusions. So 10,000 Coffees I've talked to you about. It's a really great site. I encourage everybody to join. Talent C is another company that focuses on mentorship, and they do mentorship as a practice. There are formal organizational mentorship programs, and I'm sure that we've come a long way from the 16 years ago when that kind of happened to me. And I encourage you all to get involved, get out there, become mentors, become mentees. Personally and professionally, I promise you, it will enrich your life and your career. So that's all I have to say. Thank you so much for listening. Really appreciate it. Does anyone have any questions? Okay, awesome. Thanks, guys. Oh, sorry.
It's a little bit of, I hope it's not going to be too annoying a question now. Did you ever find out why the manager that was telling you you're going to get a promotion, how that happened, that they switched their mind like that? They were telling you and then they didn't?
Well, it's because I argued with him about objective versus subjective expectations, and the fact that he needs to have the same expectations for all of his staff, regardless of their gender or ethnicity or whatnot. He didn't like that I questioned his, approach. He didn't like me telling him that he was doing it wrong.
So the change of mind happened during the performance review?
During the performance review, right then and there. He said, okay, you're not getting your promotion then, and he walked away.
Thank you.
Okay, oh, back there.
Thanks, Sheila, for inspiring that, telling that inspiring story, which kind of resonated with mine. So in that kind of situation, how do you keep yourself strong and then motivated to be in that environment and keep going? What's the tip?
For me, it was a lot about the mentorship piece, like knowing that there were at least one person out there had my back and actually wanted me there. The other piece of it is obviously my support group, my friends, my family. My mom has been an incredible mentor to me. So my mom started off as the very first female welder at a very large manufacturing company back in 1973. So when I had my difficulties, I would go to her and she would commiserate with me, tell me stories of things that she had gone through, give me tips and tricks on how to get through it, right? So that was really important for me. So yeah, my mom's the welder, and she's still actually working, and now she is a very highly respected production supervisor, and she has 40 people reporting to her. The other little tidbit I can tell you is that my sister teaches physics. So we are a very diverse family in terms of us. The women in my family like to go into male-dominated fields, it seems, so that's a thing. Okay, anyone?
Thank you again for sharing everything, and I think it is important that we talk about our failures and our not as proud moments, but it's again it's teaching us all to learn from your experience and what had happened to you. I got into the tech industry in 2012, so obviously the environment had changed a lot since then.
I'm so glad.
Yeah, I think there's been tons of positive progress. I'm curious from your point of view, how you see things are now, and where you, like, is there still work that needs to be done in terms of social dynamics in the workplace, or like, where do you see we are now compared to where we were and where we're going?
We are so much further along, obviously, than it was 20 years ago. I don't think that in today's current environment, anyone would be telling anyone domestic violence jokes, right? I think we're way past that. One of the big reasons why I'm so passionate about diversity in tech is because my daughter wants to go into tech. So she's in game design and computer science in grade 10. The problem though is there's only one other girl in her game design class and two other girls in her computer science class. So one of the areas I think we need to do a lot of work in is engaging the girls in tech a lot earlier than we're doing. We need to get to them when they're still in grade school before they get to high school. It's too late by the time they get to high school, right? So I think there's a lot of work that needs to be done in the area of, teaching girls that tech is awesome and, it's the future. In terms of the environment, I think that it's improved to the point, there's a lot of things that have happened. It's not just about the diversity piece, but there's more expectations on the soft skills, right? So now, no matter what role you're in, no matter what department you're in, no matter what organization you're in, you are expected to know how to say good morning to somebody, right? And to be friendly and to, how to communicate, right, effectively. So I think these are all really good trends. I think everything is trending well. I just think we have to keep doing what we're doing. And I think events like this are like a really great place to further, the really good stuff that we're seeing. And again, I hate to be negative and tell negative stories about my career because I don't want to scare anybody off from a career in IT as a woman. But, I do want us all to appreciate that we have come a long way. Sure, there's a lot of work to do, but we have made a ton of progress. And I'm just so happy about all of it because my daughter's going to go into tech. And I would never want her to go through anything that I have been through. So it's really, really important that all of us keep doing this good work.
Hi, thank you for your talk. It was really inspiring. I have actually two questions.
Okay.
As a junior in IT, there are some people in my company that kind of inspire me and that I would love one day to achieve what they are achieving today, men and women. So for you as a mentor, what's the best way to be approached, to ask you to be my mentor?
That's just exactly it. Just walk up to me and say, I'm interested in a mentor. Or reach out on 10,000 Coffees, right? You can look anybody up there. So if anyone in this room is interested in mentorship with me, that's definitely an avenue. But within your organization, people are very flattered when you reach out to them and you honestly ask them for help. And it's very rare, I find, that if you sincerely ask somebody for help, that they're going to say, yeah, no, I'm just not interested in helping you. So I would encourage you to be brave and be bold, right? So part of being brave is walking up to someone and saying, I want you, I think you're great, you're wonderful, I really admire you, I want to achieve the success that you have. Maybe we could have a coffee sometime and talk about it.
Cool.
Yeah?
Great. And my second question is about the relationship between mentor and mentee. To what extent that relation can go and how to set expectations and boundaries.
Okay, so one of the things I didn't want to do today was talk about the super technical pieces of mentorship, but there's a lot of good information on Google. But it is important to set boundaries. Like, one of the tenets of being a mentor is if your mentee is struggling with mental health issues, that's beyond your scope, and what you need to do is work with them to get them help, right? So there's lots of do's and don'ts and tips. Like, for example, you don't tell them what to do. You have to lead them by, guiding questions, right? So I would encourage you to go on Google and look at stuff. And also this organization, Talent C, they have a website and there's a lot of really good information on there. The founder of that organization actually taught a mentorship course last week, and I attended it, and I was really impressed with what he had to say and with his website, with the content there. So check out Talent C.
Yeah, I was there.
You were there as well? It was good, hey? Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I got a lot out of it. So highly encourage you to do some self-study on the whole mentorship piece of it.
That's really nice.
Yeah, okay. All right, thank you so much, everybody. Really, thank you. Really appreciate it.